Good morning. I am a Republican. I've been a Republican since the early 1970s, when on this campus I helped Henson Moore get elected to the United States Congress. I will remain a Republican. But I also am someone who believes in voting for the person, not the party. It's why I and other longtime Republican office holders were able to be elected when Louisiana was a Democrat state. Never is this more appropriate than it is in this election, which is why Kathy and I today announce our support of John Bel Edwards. We did not come to this decision lightly. We have both fielded dozens of calls and messages about our position in this race. We believe our many friends and supporters can make up their own minds, but they deserve to know how we will cast our ballots. To those who are saying, I'm just not going to vote, I encourage people not to take that easy way out. Don't leave it to someone else to make the decision for you and the decision for Louisiana. This is not a case of choosing the lesser of two evils. John Bel reminded us during the primary that he lives by the oath he took as an Army Ranger, not to lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. I never took that oath, but I've spent 27 years in public service attempting to prove what I said in my very first election, that the term honest politician does not have to be a contradiction in terms. So how can I pretend that everything I said about David Vitter less than 2 weeks ago has no meaning? When are we as Louisianians going to stop tolerating the embarrassment that too many of our elected officials have heaped upon this state? I've stood on the stage in this very building, the LSU Union, countless times, speaking to young people, Boy State, Girl State, YLS, many other groups, talking about leadership and the fundamental trait that a leader must possess, and that's integrity. Honor, integrity, truthfulness, openness, and ethical behavior are the most important traits of public service. John Bel is a candidate who exemplifies these traits. I know better than anybody that just because David Vitter and his super PAC say something on TV doesn't make it true. I've come to know and respect John Bel during this campaign. I've done my due diligence. I've talked with him extensively regarding the issues that are important to me, the issues that are important to this state. I believe him when he tells me he will not be controlled by those who want to turn back the clock in Louisiana. He will not seek to undo strides that have been made in education with charter schools and vouchers. He will not be the enemy of business. He will not seek to solve our serious budget problems by penalizing a particular industry. He recognizes that LSU and all of higher education are the key to continued economic prosperity. He recognizes that he formerly represented an overwhelmingly Democrat district, but that he must deal with a Republican-controlled legislature. He knows that fear, intimidation, and vindictiveness are the enemies of building a coalition to move Louisiana forward. He will govern in a bipartisan manner based upon what's best for Louisiana without regard to how it plays to a national audience. The Republican brand has been damaged by the failed leadership of Bobby Jindal during this last term. A David Vitter governorship will further damage that brand, as I and others have pointed out during the campaign. I cannot and will not sit idly by and refuse to speak truth to power. I will support an honorable, pro-life, pro-gun Democrat who can build coalitions and whose values best reflect those of our great state.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Jay. And Donna and I are very proud and we're humbled to be here to accept your endorsement and your votes. And I have a daughter over here who's missing class, so I'm not gonna be long. But Jay has been a committed and dedicated public servant for a long time. He's been very effective. He's always been a man to uphold the highest ideals, a man of integrity, a man of honor. And in fact, it started right here at LSU where he was the student body president. And I suspect that one of the reasons that he's endorsed me is he knows, as I do, that the state of Louisiana is hurting today. And that's certainly evidenced by the fact that LSU, our flagship university, just this spring, prepared paperwork to declare financial exigency, which is the same as bankruptcy for a higher education institution. That's the shape that Louisiana is in. We can't invest in anything that is a priority because we have a structural budget deficit. We have a governor who has been absent, a governor whose policies have been bad for our state, and a governor who's been disengaged and benign neglect has done damage where his policies did not do damage. So we have to do better as a state. That's why Jay is here. I value Jay's, not only his endorsement, but his advice and his input, and because it's important. We're going to have to work together. This election is about leadership. It's about uniting the people of Louisiana. And I would just ask the voters out there to decide for yourselves which among the two candidates for governor now is a leader, which is a uniter, and which is a divider. Now, Jay mentioned it, and I wanted to mention it as well. He did not deserve the treatment that he got from Senator Vitter. The lies, the negativity, it wasn't right for him. And by the way, it wasn't right for Scott Angel either. Another dedicated public servant, committed leader who's done a lot of good things for our state. But this election ultimately is about our future. And the future of Louisiana is going to be bright. The future is going to be a lot better than the present because we are going to tackle our challenges. I will govern in a way that's inclusive, that brings people together irrespective of party, irrespective of geography, of race, of gender. We're going to all have a seat at the table because the future belongs to all of us, not just a few of us. And it's incredibly important that we have a leader in the governor's office to make that happen. That is going to happen on November the 21st because the people of Louisiana are going to demand it. So at this time, Jay, if you would just come back up, I want to make a pledge to you that is the same as I make to every voter. As the next governor of the great state of Louisiana, I will always be honest with you, I will never embarrass you, and I will wake up every day to fight to put Louisiana first. And I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to ask for your partnership, not just in this campaign, not just with your endorsement, but as we go forward to put Louisiana first, to move Louisiana forward. And I want your friendship, and I want your advice and your counsel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless all of you.
Kathy and I have been bombarded by people asking us, what do we do now? People who are frustrated, they don't want to vote for David Vitter, they don't want to vote for a Democrat, and I felt it important to tell them what we were going to do. They're intelligent people who can make up their own mind, and I don't expect that this is going to create a huge following necessarily, but I wanted people to know what we were going to do. I think they are entitled to that and deserve that.
Tell us a little bit about your conversations regarding the future of Louisiana.
Well, obviously, I wanted to make sure that I was satisfied that John Bel is not the demon that he is going to be made out to be, and I don't think he is that. I believe he's a reasonable, pragmatic, good man who's going to do the right thing for the right reasons, and he assured me that he was not going to be taking a step backwards on some of the issues that I feel very strongly about, including vouchers, including charter schools, including issues that otherwise would polarize Louisiana. I think he's going to try and bring people together, and that's what I think is the most important trait that he brings to the election.
Jay Dardenne is a man who puts Louisiana first, just like I do. And he is not a man who is controlled by party or philosophy. He's looking for a uniter, he's looking for a leader, and he called me. We had several long conversations. He wanted to make sure of my position on certain issues and achieve a comfort level as to how I will govern the state of Louisiana. We had that conversation. Obviously, he achieved that comfort level. He's here, and I'm very proud to have his endorsement. It means an awful lot to me, not just because of the impact that it's going to have on the race, but because he is a good man. And to have someone that you've been running against for over a year, showing up at forum after forum after forum, and that's one of the things I admire about Jay. He and I showed up. We weren't hiding. We were showing up. We were answering questions. We were letting the people of Louisiana know who we are and what we believe. And through that process, I came to admire Jay Dardenne. And to have him standing up endorsing my candidacy for governor means a lot to me on a personal level. It means as much to me personally as it does politically. So that's how it came about, and I'm just very gratified and humbled that he chose to make this endorsement.
Character ought to be first and foremost in any election. I've said that for many years. As I said during my remarks, I've talked to a lot of young people about the qualities of leadership. And if you don't have integrity and you don't have character to begin with, in my view, that's the point where you're not going to be successful, and you're not going to be the kind of leader I would like to see for the state of Louisiana.
I'm going to keep traveling. In fact, just a few minutes, I'm going to leave. I've got to be in other parts of the state. We're going to be in Alexandria. We're going to be traveling around. The message is still the message. It's the same message. It's about putting Louisiana first. It's about meeting our challenges. It's about creating opportunity in Louisiana. We're here on the campus of our flagship university, but we have lost too many of our best professors, and quite honestly, we're losing too many of our best students because they don't believe they have the opportunity here to get a top-rate education. They don't believe they have an opportunity to get a good job and a rewarding career. And if our children and grandchildren choose to leave Louisiana because they want to, that's one thing. If they're leaving because they believe they have to live the American dream, that is wrong. We have to nip that in the bud, and that's what it means to create opportunity here in Louisiana. Opportunity and education are synonymous. And that's why I'm happy to have Jay's endorsement. Look, he is a truly committed higher education person, not just LSU, community and technical colleges, all of our regional universities, but certainly our flagship as well.
The Vitter campaign is going to be attempting to tie him to Obama, and none of us, most of us in Louisiana, don't like that tie. I certainly don't. I'm no supporter of this president. I'm no supporter of his policies. But I'm about Louisiana and who is the right person to move Louisiana forward.
I think it sends a message that we have momentum, but for the right reasons. Because I'm going to be the leader, the uniter who brings the people of Louisiana together. I can sit and compromise. People will know that I'm coming from a place where I believe that I am doing what is in the best interest of our state. And people will disagree with me, but if we sit at the table and I know that they're coming from a similar place, there's always room for common ground. There's always room for compromise because that's what it's going to take. The hard reality of this is the structural problems in our state require a two-thirds vote in the legislature to fix. You don't get a two-thirds vote unless you can bring people together. And that's why we need a leader. We need a uniter. I believe I fit that bill, and I think that David Vitter is singularly unqualified to do that. I do the very best that I can when it comes to maintaining a high standard for myself. And living by the honor code that I learned at West Point, that I actually enforced at West Point. I was chosen by my fellow cadets to be the enforcer of the honor code. A cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. And I'll say it again, David Vitter wouldn't last a day at West Point.